Organizational strategy tells people which way to aim their efforts, but how far the organization actually moves depends on how much of their effort people actually push in that direction. Most of us are pretty good at referring to organizational strategies when we make big decisions or investments, but most of us are pretty bad at referring to organizational strategies when we make the thousands of tiny decisions that consume most of our resources. Mostly, we rely on habits and mental shortcuts that help us to move quickly, but not necessarily in the right direction. We chew up time and energy on things that seem urgent, even though they're not particularly important to the organization's strategy, or on pet projects that we find interesting and worthwhile, but don't directly contribute to strategic goals, or on things we've always done just because we've always done them, and the list goes on. When we invest time and energy in things that only weakly align with the organization's strategic direction, or worse, head off in a different direction altogether, we dilute the value of our work. When we concentrate everyone's efforts on a few key goals, we can harness all the energy we need to move the organization towards those goals. In this video, we touch briefly on two key aspects of aligning effort with strategic direction: keeping the main thing, and operationalizing the strategy. You've probably heard or read Stephen Covey's instantly classic phrase, "The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing." Strategy documents tell organizations what their main thing should be, but it's up to each team and individual to make that their main thing and keep it that way. Staying focused on the organization's core objectives helps to avoid distractions and minimize side quests, directing energy towards the things that matter most. Using organizational strategy as a beacon helps people make the right decisions every time by asking themselves which decision will move the organization closer to its strategic direction. Referring to organizational strategy can also help with tough decisions about prioritization, when there seems to be many worthwhile ways we could allocate scarce resources, even if those resources are just our own labor. Asking which option will move the organization further in its strategic direction helps to maximize the value of our effort, as well as its relevance, by prioritizing the things that make the most difference to the things that matter most. The extra benefit of each of those little individual choices adds up when every task, every meeting, and every decision takes us a little closer towards our big goals. And the benefit is magnified when we all do it together. The more of us who diligently keep the main thing most of the time, the more likely we are to achieve it. But what about the million things that seem necessary even if it's not obvious how they contribute to the overall strategic direction? Things like managing your inbox, processing transactions, and cleaning the kitchen. It's easy for routine tasks and processes to consume a lot of effort, maybe too much, if we treat them as different and somehow exempt them from the principle of keeping the main thing the main thing. That's where operationalizing the strategy comes in. A glossy strategy document that describes the big ambitions of a publicly funded organization for the next 5 years might seem a long way removed from the day-to-day work of one team or individual. For the strategy to be a meaningful beacon for everyone, we need to help each person to interpret and contextualize the big strategic direction in a way that makes sense for them and their work. Operational, business and individual work plans should assign activities and allocate resources in ways that clearly align with the organization's strategic direction. They should aim everyone's efforts towards the same big goals and explain how everyone's efforts contribute to those goals. Project plans should demonstrate what and how project resources contribute to the same shared goals. Operationalizing the strategy helps to cascade direction to all the different people in all the different roles across the organization, so everyone understands and can do their part to move the organization towards shared goals and avoid getting too fixed in habits and routines. For organizations to achieve big goals, it isn't enough to just set big goals, and it isn't enough for everyone to know what those goals are. To be successful, we need everyone to remember to keep the main thing all the time. And we need to operationalize the strategy so everyone understands what, how, and how much they should contribute to the main thing. Thank you for watching.